Hey guys, this is Will, and I'm doing another card game video. Um, this is not really one specifically, I'm just doing one for kind of reviewing all the card games I play, because I consider myself like the king of games. And that sounds kind of hokey, but I know, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. So I kind of got my spread of all the decks I use and ones that I kind of just mess around with for the multitude of games that I play. I know you could think that, like, well, anyone could just build 20 decks and say that they're good at it, but what you don't understand is I could build like 50 decks. I literally had 20 Yu-Gi-Oh decks. These are ones that, like, I put a lot of work into. Like card games and board games and things, like, I take those seriously. Like chess, I mean, and Bug House, if you know what Bug House is, you're already have brownie points. But like, I put a lot of time and effort into these decks, especially Dragon Ball Super, that being one of my favorite games. The Naruto decks and the Dragon Ball Z decks, I didn't put as much work into because no one plays those games, and the cards are... Dragon Ball Z is just... it's a stupid game. I mean, and I'm going to talk about that when I'm just reviewing all the games, in case you're interested in playing one, or you haven't heard of it or don't know about it. At some point, I want to finish profiling these decks. I haven't really... I mean, I briefly put the Yu-Gi-Oh ones on, but the camera light's too dark, and I didn't really talk about it, so I'll do that at some point. I didn't do my Pokemon, I didn't do the Star Wars, I didn't do the Naruto. Well, no, I did the Naruto, but I didn't do the Dragon Ball Z, and I might end up making a video on how to play Dragon Ball Z, because the game's stupid. No, that's not... alright, the game's not stupid, but the concept of getting what you need is stupid. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. So, first, I got my Dragon Ball Super up here. Got my Yu-Gi-Oh decks. This one, completely experimental. Really just kind of... I like themes with Yu-Gi-Oh at least. So this is kind of the extreme, like, Yu-Gi deck. It's running the God card, it's running Exodia, it's running... obviously, like, so with him you got the Magna Warriors and the Super Magna Warriors, I think that's what it's called. Or Electro Magna Warriors or something like that. And then Performa Pals, because I had to make some Pendulum deck. Black Wings, one of my favorite decks. Magicians, love that deck too. Yusei, so his synchros. Psychic, Steel. It requires its dragon, but technically I'm running electric and grass, because the fire I can make up for, but Dragonite uses electric and grass, because dragons don't have technically their own energy. 2 Star Wars Destiny. This is Jango Fett with 2 Stormtroopers, Count Dooku and Kylo Ren. Chibi Naruto deck, even though he's not Chibi, he's from the deck, but the rest of the cards are Chibi. Starter deck, Pain, Goku, I think he was with the Saiyan card, yep, Saiyan Mastery. Gohan, Teen Gohan from the Cell Saga with Blue Mastery. Trunks, that's a dual blue and green. Bobbity, dual red and green. All green. Broly, Cooler, yellow, and all yellow. It's mono yellow. And then my favorite, Zamas deck, all blue. So I just want to kind of review. Hold on, let me put this out so you guys can actually see me. Hello. You guys don't usually get to see me, but first things first, Yu-Gi-Oh is... I've been playing since I was like, I don't know, 8. It came out in 2000, so I was 6 when it came out. And the rules were complicated back then. The show didn't follow any of the rules. And I played with my brother for like a long time. So I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! I've always played it. My mom ended up throwing away most of our cards because we were beating each other to death over them. But so, I mean, I've always been a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I always will. even though Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of gone downhill. So, I mean, as far as gameplay, originally the rules weren't too bad. You have, like, normal monsters, effect monsters, fusion monsters, ritual monsters, and that's what you had back then. But now you've got synchro monsters when 5Ds came out. I love 5Ds. That was my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series. And synchros are great. Like, I really enjoyed synchros. You have to have a tuner monster, and it's the white card. So this is a synchro monster. It's your what is this? Armor Master. And so you have effect monsters that are tuners. So, I mean, that works fine. But then Exes came out. They were black. I think I've got a few around here. So, yeah, Exes came out. It's hard to see. There we go. It's a little bit better. So, yeah, Exes came out. They were black cards that were in your extra deck. That was fine. I didn't like the TV show. I thought the TV show was awful. That's just my opinion. But I mean, it was okay. I stayed with that. Then Pendulums came out. I didn't even watch that one. I don't even know what the name of it was. I know Zexal was Exes. So I didn't even watch Pendulums. I made a deck just because I was resigned to the fact that, okay, this is a thing. There's nothing I can do about it. And moved on from there. And now it's Lynx. So I'm done. I mean, I'll still play it, and I'll make decks and put them on here and just kind of mess with them because I love the game, and I always will. Like, I grew up with it, and so I'll always have a soft spot for it. But I'm not buying into that anymore. I mean, it's gotten so ridiculous. When Pendulums came out, it was the first time that they had to modify the board layout. So for like 3 TV shows worth, they never had to change the game mat, but now they did. And Pendulums just kind of got crazy, in my opinion. I mean, I play so many card games that, except Magic. I don't play Magic, but because that's just really complicated too, and I didn't like you have to keep buying things if you wanted to play in tournaments. But the game itself, I mean, originally wasn't bad, but now I feel like it's just not bad. Like, it's not fun, but it's just overly complicated. There's too many rules. There's too many variations of cards. There's too much to buy into, and it's just because they just want to make more and more and change things and change things and change things, and eventually it just kind of ruined the fun, in my opinion. I mean, some people might still be into it, but it's just, if they had just stopped with synchros, I would have been fine. I mean, I enjoyed synchros. I used a few XZs, but to me, 5Ds was the pinnacle. I loved it. Thought it was great. But besides that, so I've got Pokemon next. Pokemon I got into just like a year or two ago. And, I mean, I played the video games forever. Grew up with the, I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. Yeah, so I love that theme song. Any 90s kid knows that song. I mean, that was huge. And so, I mean, I even have it on my iPod. So, I mean, I love Pokemon. Always will. Mew is my favorite. So I've got 3 Mew cards I play. Let's see if I can get it up there. In my Psychic deck, I got Mewtwo, Deoxys, and I'll probably profile them later. But the gameplay was fun. And I liked the concept. The energy kind of got difficult sometimes, just depending on what you use. So you couldn't use too many things. You couldn't use, like, for instance, if in the show you had like 6 Pokemon, you could have 1 of each type. In this game, you really can't have like that many types because there's not that much energy. And so, I mean, that ended up causing problems. But besides that, so like dragons, for instance, there's so much variation in dragons. So they use so many different types of energy. I try to make a mono dragon deck. It just becomes impossible because you can't get the energy you need when you need it. Like, they needed steel, they needed psychic, they needed fairy, they needed fire, they needed electric, they need grass, water, everything. And I have a dual dragon energy, but it's only good for like 1 shot. It's a special energy. You can only keep 4. But the game itself is fun. I like the concept of when you defeat a Pokemon, you get a prize card. and Dragon Ball Super, I think, kind of stole that idea later, but kind of changed it but I like how they changed it. But anyway, next I'm gonna talk about Star Wars Destiny. So my deck of choice is my Jango. See if you can get in there. Jango Fett and 2 Stormtroopers. There we go. How this game works, you got to pick leaders that are either villain or hero, and in the bottom left-hand corner they have numbers. And so this game uses dice. So I've got a bunch of dice. Either you use them for the weapons, upgrades, vehicles, and your leader all have die. They come with it, and it's a great game. Like, honestly, I just got into this game. A friend of mine got me into it, and it's fantastic. I mean, I really like this game. It's but you can only have leaders up to the number 30, and so in the bottom right, so Jango for 1 die is 12 cost, for 2 die it's 16 cost, and then Stormtroopers are 70 each for 14, which makes 30. This is honestly my best deck. Jango's ability is great, and I'll talk about his ability when I profile the deck. Then I have Count Dooku, 2 die is 15, Kylo Ren, 2 die is 13, so it's 28. They have some cards that are coming out now that kind of compensate for that 2 cost that I would like to get into, but it's fine for what it is. But the mechanics of the game I think are great. So instead of turn-based, it's action-based. So you have a series of actions you take, and you make 1 action, they make 1 action, you make 1 action, they make 1 action. And it's great because you avoid those long turns where, especially like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, or Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Super's fast, though. It's not that slow. Pokemon's pretty fast, I think. But, I mean, some Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially with pendulums, can just go on and on and on and on. And you're like, when is it going to be my turn? Star Wars Destiny is great. So you just make 1 action, like activating your leader, like rolling in the die. That's an action. Playing an upgrade. That's an action. So if I want to put a blaster on Jango Fett, or put a jetpack on Jango Fett and add that die to the pool, that's an action. So then they get to take a turn. Or I can play an event card, and that's my action. Then they get to take a turn. And so even rolling die and using them are separate actions. So I can roll a die, let's say I get like 4 range damage, then those die go back, and my next action I can use them. And so it's very fair, and there's cards that kind of cheat that, like you can take additional actions, but like you don't get that often. You only get to use that really once. And I mean, you can have up to 2 cards in a deck, but the game is very good. Alright, next is Naruto. I mean, I don't know why this game wasn't so popular. I enjoy it. I think the game is fun. I liked the idea of running teams of ninja, having your village, charging chakra was fine with me, because even Pokemon, you've got to charge stuff. Dragon Ball Super, you've got to charge stuff. I was familiar with that concept. But, I don't know. So, I mean, Pain. I thought the game was kind of cool. I had no real issue with it, except that no one played it. I mean, that was my issue with the game, is it was hard to find someone to actually play it with. But the mechanics were fine, and you had, like, values for the leader of the team, and then values for the supports, and then the effect of the support was the one, or the effect of the leader was the one that you followed, and then, if anything, I think the turn cost kind of was annoying, but at the same time, it just, I mean, I understand. It wasn't really anything to complain about. I think it was just slow starting. I think that was the problem I had, was just, but I mean, that's true of just about any game, so I mean, I really can't complain about that either. Really, I had no complaints with it. I thought the game was fun. Just no one played it. Next, I've got Dragon Ball Z. So, see if you can see this. I had a lot of issues with this game. lots and lots of issues. First off, you couldn't buy packs. And not that you couldn't buy them, it was pointless to. Because in the game, you need... Let's see if you can see that. There we go. So, it's kind of dark, but if you can see it, there's numbers on each one in the upper corner. And for instance, so, you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's like the Goku's getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's going by levels. And I mean, that's a great concept. But the problem is that you can't play unless you have all of those 4 levels for just one person. It doesn't matter who it is. But then you also need a mastery card. So, like, this is the green Saiyan mastery card. And you don't actually use these in the game. They stay out the whole time. But the problem is those are the requirements for playing, and when you have the green mastery card, you can only use green Saiyan cards. The problem is that when you're buying packs, it's impossible to collect 4 of the same thing. 4 different levels, 1 through 4. I bought in so many packs. I would get duplicates of 2 levels. I think the closest I got was like level 2 and 3 Nail, level 2 and 3 like Raditz, and that was it. I mean, because there's so many people, so many characters, so I mean, you have to buy structure decks, and the problem is, I've never gotten a mastery card from a pack. I've gotten them from structure decks, and I was just lucky that, because the structure decks are random. It was like 6 different decks, and you didn't know which one you were getting. So the problem is, you could have ended up getting the same deck, and that would have been awful. So, I mean, the only reason I have 2 decks is because I bought the structure decks, and I modified the cards because I got other Saiyan cards and stuff like that. But my point is, that was my first issue, was buying packs was meaningless because you couldn't play with packs. You needed structure decks. The other thing was, it's just so complicated. They've got rules for physical combat and energy combat. They're 2 different things. And then you have energy blocking and physical blocking. And then you've got events and drills and setups, and then power levels. So you've got, like, I think 10 power levels on each of the 4 levels. And when you use a certain amount of, like, energy ones, it goes down. And you start at, like, 5, I think. Your allies start at like 3, and then you gotta climb, and you have anger, and the anger works with the level, and there's a little thing on here that says how much power you gain each turn, and there's just so much to follow. So I think when you use energy, oh gosh, it's been so long. I'll have to review the rules, but it was just so complicated, and it wasn't fun. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable. I tried playing it with my brother, and it wasn't fun. It was, I mean, it could kind of put you to sleep. And it was disappointing, because Dragon Ball Z was, like, a great show, and, I mean, I was kind of disappointed. But anyway, lastly is the Dragon Ball Super card game. Fantastic. Great game. To go from Z to Super, the card game mechanics changed phenomenally. You still have a leader instead of a main personality, but it's just 1 card, and it's front and back, and you easily get one in a pack. I mean, I don't think I've gotten... Now, there's sometimes you get a pack that doesn't have one, but majority of the time, every pack comes with a leader card. So, I mean, you end up collecting a ton of them. There's 4 different colors, and Dragon Ball Z, there was like 6 colors. And, the cool thing about this is that you can use other colors outside of your leader's color, where in the Dragon Ball Z game, you couldn't use... If my mastery is blue, I can't use red, I can't use orange, I can't use black, I have to use only blue. Well, that wasn't true for this game. And I love the flipping awakening thing. I mean, that was always kind of cool. I liked that the leader cards were dual-sided. I don't know why I made that sound effect. But, again, great game. I really like playing it. It's enjoyable. The gameplay flows really well. It's quick. And it's exciting. Like, I really enjoyed this game. I love my Zamaska deck. I find it really enjoyable. Has all my favorite characters in it, and they're still coming out with new characters. They're